swearing in and the pledge is to appoint chairman and vice chairman for the year.
Thank you.
Anyone have a speech prepared to put their name in the pen?
I thought it was pretty good the way it was last year.
I would probably agree. I don't know if you might think so. I'd volunteer for vice. If that's okay.
Would you be interested in that? If not, say so.
I don't know. I'm not voted here, doesn't matter.
Look, if you don't want to say so.
Yeah, I think see who's training in.
Okay. So we had a volunteer for vice. I'll make that a motion.
I'll support that.
Okay, let's do them separately.
No.
Okay, so first is Schulte, second for Helmers, for Jason as chairman.
Yep.
Okay. Then vice chairman Ed,
Yes.
and same motion.
First is for chair then, motion by Schulte, support from Helmers for be chairman for 2019. Further discussion? All those in favor, signify with aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay. Take the same individuals making motion support for Mr. Jones as vice chair. Discussion, comments? All those in favor, signify with aye. All those opposed, same sign. Continuing on with the roll call, Mr. Schulte, Mr. Jones, Mr. Helmers, Mr. Moore. Here. We have agenda presented for today.
Make a motion to approve the agenda. Support that.
Mr. Jones, support the floor, approve the agenda presented. All those in favor signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Next item would be the minutes from December 27th. from Schulte to approve the minutes as presented. Discussion. All those in favor signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Next, consideration to approve the official county newspapers. We have a copy of the request from the Press News in our packet here. Barb does have a copy of a request from the Gazette Tribune. Both of those papers have previously historically been identified as the county newspapers. I'd be interested in continuing that. Motion to identify them each together or separately?
Together.
For both newspapers? Okay. Motion from the board to approve the Gazette Tribune and the Press News, or the Press News and Gazette Tribune, whichever we want to look at.
So moved.
We had a motion for DeWar, that's support. From Helmers, any further discussion? All those in favor signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Committee assignments. A whole lot of things to change.
Ed had mentioned, are you on the Seasons, are you the alternate?
Yeah, you have.
Oh, yeah, season.
Okay.
What's that?
Okay.
That Mike is alternate for Seasons?
Well, I never just decided in the last meeting. Yep.
So you had it, so that's taken off there, Leroy?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can't be on the point, then I forgot to show up. Can't be on both at once.
Season's alternate, Mike?
I don't know what Heads, Upper Des Moines or Head Start will do, they're talking about reorganization, so I'm not sure.
It's already been reorganized.
Has it?
And I guess our rep is, guy from State, supervisors from up there.
So we won't, I won't have that assignment.
Nope.
Did you receive something on that? I haven't.
Nope, I happened to be talking to Jamie Whitney about early childhood Iowa.
Okay.
Made mention that, we had come to a conclusion on it. And then they were supposed to have another meeting to determine whether an alternate would be from another board member in the surrounding county.
So we don't really have any representation from this county then?
Nope, it's just the one guy.
He's gonna be here on the 22nd.
Oh,
But Jamie Whitney.
okay.
So take you off then.
Yeah.
We still want to leave a designated contact or?
I don't know if we contact.
Well, I said that they could rotate amongst the three different regions, so then if our county were to go up, we'd have somebody identified.
Sure. Then leave it on, whatever, however you want to do it, it's fine.
Is there a head start? Yeah,
Yes.
is there? Okay. So just leave Jerry on there.
Yeah, you can move the monthly.
Okay.
Representative.
Okay.
Mike's taking Seasons and Leroy's going down another one, is there something Mike would like to see Leroy take? An alternate?
We have to change the alternate then for Compass Point. Seasons, I can't be the alternate for Leroy.
Do they always have, like Leroy and I are both on Compass Point, do they always have two representatives?
I think it's been that way for some time.
I didn't know.
Well, I can remember
Yeah,
too.
Some, the other counties don't have that though.
No, it's kind of, but there's a few that do have.
Now,
two.
Moran County does
Yeah.
because Farnsworth and that other guy.
Lion County too.
Who's the other one for Lyon County?
It'll be Merle and Kurt.
Oh, yeah, Kurt, yeah.
He's like,
Yeah, he is.
Like swapping out for somebody else. You can't be a council. Not the opinion though.
So you take the, no, you're on seasons.
Yep.
So you don't wanna be with the alternate?
No.
Well, the only one could be Jason, but
For a compass point. He's already down.
I don't really know.
He's already on as Compass Point alternate.
No.
I think the alternate, I'm not trying to avoid conflict of interest, but I think you're gonna chase your tail trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
Really with mental health, I think
Yeah.
you're gonna run into situations where,
And the two of us being on Compass Point anyway, one of us is always there anyway, most of the time. I think only one time in 2 years I've been on it.
yeah, usually one of us will take it.
you just need to be mindful of specific situations that would be.
Yeah.
But at the end, we need one of us there.
Lender,
But you'll have to come all the time because you're gonna be the chair.
I'm gonna miss the next one.
Yeah.
If you miss it, you will be.
Then you will be.
Maybe I better go, huh?
and ECI and DCAT that would have alternates for that board.
Which one?
ECI and DCAT. If you don't make it, but they won't let anybody come fill in for you to vote.
Can't vote for why you go.
Exactly.
Identify both.
Yeah, I see you down there as an alternate. And that's the only one board I know of that won't let you.
That doesn't make no sense.
And we'll let you go.
Yep. So there's no alternates on that board.
Remember,
Hey, yeah, that's,
For right now, just leave it as it is. If we do run into a problem during the year, we can always address it.
So which one are you talking about now?
just leave it.
Just leave everything as is.
Everything else?
Yep.
On, Mike, number 11, Mental Health Board, Cherokee, what is that? Is that for the regional,
So former Cherokee,
which is not existent, so that could be taken off?
and you say Compass Point, alternate for Ed is off too.
I scratched it off,
I would think it would be.
left Jason on as alternate. So the DCAT too, the Lakes Region alternate monthly for Jason number 13,
12 and 13. Yeah, you can
both of
take
those are off.
The DHS plus the board. Ed and Leroy are both on that.
You have an alternate for the regional?
Jerry, it's listed as alternate for mental health, so it's our
Their
Cherokee.
DHS ones are two of the other main.
Oh, very long, yeah.
I'll get with you an update, mine, these are all monthly either, so it's just that you're quick, but.
Let me know.
items, you want to approve the committee assignments?
I'll make a motion.
Jones and Scrivener's, motion support for committee assignments as discussed. Further discussion, comments? All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Committee assignment third judicial to Mr. Schulte, we did take that action on 27th. Code section does say at the first meeting, we shall appoint a chair, vice chair, and it does mention the appointment to the third judicial board, so interesting.
Make a motion, appoint Mike to support that.
Okay.
Motion support to appoint Mike Schulte to the third judicial board of directors. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Next item will be the salary increase for Deputy Zane Roberts and Renee Miranda, dispatcher/jailer. Yep, with the union agreement. Based upon time. Together or separately or?
Together.
Increases for those two positions, individuals, positions.
Make a motion to approve both of them.
Jones, support from DeBoer. Those increases. Further discussion concerning Mr. Roberts as deputy and Renee Miranda as dispatcher or jailer? Not. Those in favor signify with aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign.
What are the increases? I've got them over here, they're written on there. Orange is what they're getting right now, and then the white is what they will be getting. filings
Yeah.
down there, yeah, good luck.
I drove that back twice. You know what I'm talking about, it was all different.
That pay estimate?
Yeah. That's okay, yeah, I just have questions on it. Trying to remember.
You want me to print one off for you?
Yeah, if you got it,
Yep.
good. I didn't want to. Oh, yeah. That's okay. He's gonna pray.
Someday I'm gonna have to look there, just clean out a desk.
I could say that at the start.
There's a lot of stuff I gotta get through the roll calls.
Aaron, is Wayne gonna be here, or is he just gonna be here by phone?
He's supposed to be here, he's gonna be here,
Okay.
that's the way I understood it. So I asked him my question, he said he should be here, he'll be here. And they confirmed too, right before on Christmas Eve there.
Oops.
Here.
Get rid of that old one.
You know, it's gonna take me to figure out to write 19 instead of 18. The 7 was easy to change to 8.
Wonder if we're getting any bites on custodial duties?
I haven't heard. I kind of wondered if there's a couple they put in the city office. I wonder if they'd be interested. Because I know she just retired from the hospital. Just like walks out with me. Fisher.
Oh, Mark.
Yeah, Henry Mark. I think they do the city.
That's right.
Thank you, Mark.
Anybody else want a copy of that, or no? I made copies.
If you have.
Yep.
you guys would like to start having concerning the 915 item, current project, we'd like to table it until we can arrive and we know that health insurance.
I do.
Well, this is, Aaron, maybe you can answer this, you wanna start, Jason, or?
Yeah.
I happened to catch my eye was this $4,020 bid for sheet containment fence. And that is done?
Yeah,
And that cost $4,000?
that was the bid price, yeah. And that was the contract price for that, correct. That's part of the.
There isn't $400 worth of fence there.
I wouldn't disagree with you actually on that. That's one of the problems when you have small quantity issues like that, a lot of times you get a high price for those little deals like that.
Really?
Yeah, it's a contract and it's a bid, it's a hard bid, it's a sealed bid, and that's what happens. Because really, at the end of the day, $4,000 is a make or break a 1.2 million.
No, I
You know what I
understand.
mean? And that's why they can do that, you know, on a small project, on a small item like that.
I didn't even think it was a very good fence, to be honest with you.
All they had to do is be suitable for, it was actually a temporary, livestock fence is all it was. For the project, but he was paid damages for it, so he can either take that down and build his own new one, or,
So he gets $4,000 or?
no, the contractor gets it, you know, and part of it too, when they have those little tiny details like that, a lot of times they are gonna bid a little higher because they have to kind of fiddle around and deal with little issues like that on a project that isn't productive, you know, it's not a productive item, like hauling gravel or hauling material and dirt, you know, but.
Just noted, I think it's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. Don't disagree with you at all.
I drove the whole 2 miles the other day, and
Yeah.
that really caught my eye because I thought $4,000 for fence. When the last meeting, I just kind of went, that seems kind of high. Then when I looked at the fence, I went, that's really high.
It is really high. Well, no, theoretically, if it wasn't part of the project, and you did it like separately, you could hire somebody on a time and material basis, and just have it done, and yeah, it probably cost you $500 or whatever it would be, $1,000, I don't know.
Not very much.
Yeah,
Okay.
but when it's part of the contract, it's an actual bid item. So it's actually, that was the unit price for the fence.
I know that's just a little part of this whole project, but I just
Yeah.
think it's kind of ridiculous.
Nope, that's.
I wouldn't even, if I was the farmer, I wouldn't even be happy with the fence.
Sure.
That's-
Yeah, if you were,
If it was
paying
my
your
fence.
livestock, yep.
Well, it's a temporary one during.
It's a temporary
Ready to
construction.
do the final fence upon.
Yeah, he actually got paid already for it, and we had to give him damages to acquire the land. It's no doubt, that's part of the problem when you're dealing with acquiring private land for public purposes. These are the things that you have to deal with.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing that it's high, but at the same time, they didn't include it in the bid, and they had to wait for neighboring landowner that said they were gonna do it to come out, and they're sitting there with their equipment not continuing in the road, because temporary fence isn't it. I mean, I can see where
Yeah,
it can be costly either way.
absolutely. Yeah. Or if they have to run into problems and do more maintenance on it, things like that. It's a complete price. This is your problem, you're handling it for the duration of
They
the project.
install a final fence, and then during construction, it's altered or whatever, it costs whatever, well, we have to pay to repair it too, so.
Correct, yeah.
And I just have a question, like when we abandon a road like that, do we have to let the farmer have the ground, can we just abandon it to them for the future? Like this one, if they kept the road right away, and let the farmer farm, I could care less about that, but then we could take it back.
We could have kept the road, it would have been considered right away.
Yeah,
I mean, it would have been a public road though.
it would save us a chunk of money if we kept it.
Yeah, it would have just been a public road, you know, and I mean, we have a lot of those dirt roads.
I could, granted, we don't abandon very many, but if we do, I'd say from now on, we keep the rights to it.
Sure.
Good morning.
That was discussed, and JCG had given us a recommendation.
Okay, all right,
not
appreciate it, thank
take
you.
ownership, as I recall.
It'll be a few minutes yet, so.
Yeah. Regarding the fence, or
understand that part. but
Yeah, this is,
like,
fee title versus, permitting.
when they abandoned that road, we should have kept the rights.
Yeah, we wouldn't have had to pay for it again.
Yeah.
Theoretically, 100 years ago, we paid for it too. Then we abandoned it, and we, gave it back to the landowners. I don't know if we probably didn't get compensated for it either. I'm sure we did.
Just don't ban any roads.
There's incentive why people probably would do those things at certain times, because then we're not responsible for it too, so.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure there was probably a reason, no one ever foresaw that, you know, and now in hindsight's 20/20, and it actually, it makes good sense, what you're saying, because, yeah, I mean, all these section lines are potential areas for something to happen, right? Especially close to a town. There was still a portion that we would have had to acquire, because from the railroad tracks south, that was never a road, ever.
After the Schultz's pay request for the 11,121. Claim for.
Do you have a copy of it to do with the claim?
Claim that we didn't pay last time. That one did, it's the
Yeah,
6,355.
yeah, I got it. Where's that other one? Was it claim 1255 or something?
It's like. Yep.
Yeah, I still don't know the extension numbers. Hey, can you get a copy of, claim 1255, that one for Schultz-Elton that was not paid, that they denied? Okay, thank you.
At this point, I had some questions as to, you know, our original contract stated that, and to me, the claim last week indicated, or looked to me like it would be well within the scope of what was originally identified as services that were provided for the not to exceed 170, but sure, then that would have put us over 170, why?
Yep.
We'll get that point.
Well, it does kind of broke out areas that we've done additional work in areas. This is just a breakout of the areas that we've done some additional beyond that 170 mark. You can kind of just go through those, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. So, we're looking at additional fees, to finish out the project. We've got plans here, set of plans for the paving portion.
We've all filled it out. Aaron's looking at them for his comments, also DOT has them preliminary set. Once Aaron, finishes comments, we'll go ahead and get those to the, DOT for final approval, and then we can have it, of course, get on the good document for you guys. But you can see those are the areas, we're going back to my little extra work layout. We did have quite a bit of extra work through the project. It just got a little bit more than what we originally thought. We had quite a bit more work, and originally the easements went kind of backwards, went initially one route, we came back and revised that, of course, and decided to go the route versus doing those easements. I guess that's it. So that kind of puts us where we're at as far as we finish out, the amount of work roughly about what the original agreement was. But we'll have some additional fees to get to through the project, under project.
Besides this?
The 172 doesn't get us to the end of the project, no. I would expect about 35,000, to 40,000 to finish out the project. That includes the place that we have is that looks at this work we did.
What did you originally bid it at? 170?
170.
So why should we pay any more than that?
Because the extra work you can see,
Right from the start.
Wasn't that, go ahead.
But right from the start, we had the turn lanes on 822 and 9, that was in the,
we had 9 on, I don't think we had 822. 822 was a later addition.
and having two projects, that was discussed right from the start.
And I think my bid document was based on one document or one project, though. I have no indication that we had it on two. I know that we discussed it. But I don't think I would.
We were still in preliminary discussion at the time.
Yeah.
It was a,
I thought that was right from the start.
I know we did it back and forth, went back and forth on that several times. Aaron and I talked about it too, is whether bid it as two sections and have one set of plans. Well, that didn't go that route, so it's essentially have to bid, create two bid documents. Which under the original contract, and I understand that, but under the original contract, because they're mutually agreed to in writing, additional services would be. Yeah, you're right. So if we went to two stages of grading and paving, without the understanding that it was gonna cost us more in engineering, from the beginning, I thought, I want this road done in 1 year, so when the elevator's operational, it's there for them, like we said it would be. So if splitting it into two, and Aaron and I have gone around this too, I understand and I'm not opposed to it being a better finished product by going to two stages, but I think we should have been made aware that that's not within the scope of what we had agreed to. That's probably it wouldn't cost us more. You're right, I should have probably been, I guess, working through it, I should have come to you and said, okay, that would result in additional. Obviously, some of these are just, as you go through the project, of such length and complexity that you run into extras that you don't know about. It's hard to predict. When I sit back there, 2 years ago and say, here's what I think it's gonna be, you try to cover some of these things, but you don't know what exactly they're gonna run into. Some of these items just come up and you can't account for them. It's just like even when you did the project, you itemize out things very, distinctly, how many yards of concrete, how many yards of fill, but yet there's times where you have to make adjustments, and that's just because what you run into out in the
But you're right, I probably should have come forward and said, there's,
All these things, the way it looks to me, I mean, should be included in your first bid. Additional coordination, well, why should that cost us more for getting the easements?
because there's just extra time to it, that we didn't account for. You know,
Well, you miss it by big time anyway.
But the original bid said that they would not do coordination meetings with the affected property, I mean, that would be outside the scope. And then we used JCG to process, right, yeah, that's,
it's, you know, it's items that we didn't account for, and, you know, there's certain items that we, build in, some that you hope that you're gonna run, you know, to cover those areas, but there's items that you don't know how to, account for. It's kind of crystal ball, you know, it'd be hard to predict exactly some of these areas that we had for extras, how we could stay back then, it's actually always going to result in dollars, so.
you know, what he's saying is a cumulative thing. It's not just, one thing, it's cumulative. And, you know, not to mention that we had a very extended construction schedule for this project. It went a lot longer than.
That just works our time into it too, we still have to do the oversight of this statement, when they need additional work with the utility companies, they make major problems for us, and we chase those down forever, restake it, you know, set out the field, stake it again, bed them out in the field, as, you know, those items, I don't know how I could even predict it. Like I said, we definitely had Highway 9 in there, 822 wasn't there to begin with, so there's additional work there for design and staking for, topo. But yeah, I'll take your criticism, with that breakout, I should have come back and said it's gonna be some additional work. Because it is, you look at the fact that this, essentially we have two sets of plans, two sets of specs. Initially, we anticipated one.
Yeah, again, you never presented us with one to say, here's what we should do, this would be within.
Right, that, there was a change, yeah, that change came before, yep, before we had that. Decision was made, so.
The review for soil conditions jumps out to me on your extra work, that, you know, you weren't, the material testing entity, we contract with CPS to do that. To me, once you understand what the soil's like, that should be what you use for.
Yeah, that's not initial, that was after the construction was underway. So the CTS was something that gave us an idea, it's, I think it was the deep borings, if I remember right, in there, but we had 2 miles to look at, so soils can change very quickly, as you know, so that gives you an idea, but you don't have, you can't predict every area that you run into, how you're gonna address that. That only gives you an idea of what's out there to begin with, it doesn't, until you start opening up the soil and taking a look at it with grading operations, sometimes you just don't know what it looks like. So that happens.
Well, going into it, there's no way we could say, well, you know, we're absolutely gonna have everything we need under this contract, and we're gonna have the road done, and, I mean, we could have added any number of things to the expectations in the contract to have assured that as well. So,
I'll see both sides.
Yeah.
I'll put it this way, if these were added into the original, agreement, the agreement would reflect additional costs. These are the items that we didn't know was going to take place, therefore they weren't in there. You know, these were not, it's not as if you bought something and didn't have this included, they were never included in the bid. Open to any questions. Anything you got?
Are we gonna run into more surprises when they do the concrete?
Hopefully not, because, you know, typically your surprises come with the earth moving. Now we've got yearly done, we should surprise them. Typically paving's the last thing, typically we don't have any issues with that. Don't know, can't say 100%, but it's typically that stage of the construction, we don't have issues with.
Oh, it's true, the underground work and all that is where it all happens. I mean, there's definitely some issues that can arise here, but almost, from my experience too, it happens during the underground construction. That's where the stuff really happens. And actually when going through all the land acquisition aspect too, overall, that was kind of a significant undertaking.
Like I said, you know, and I can't blame, I'm not trying to blame, not trying to obviously hype and everything we did. It's just that with our original scope of services, these were not included, and that was for a reason, because we didn't think we'd have to. Sometimes we just run into it, and unfortunately we have to account for it. If we don't do it, it doesn't get done, so.
Wouldn't have been easier for us if you would've said, okay, I could run into this, I could run into that, I could run into this, could cost you this many dollars.
Yeah, and it'd still be hard to quantify those numbers, you know, I mean, it's, unfortunately, it's not the same as you taking a truck into, you know, get a service, but there is times where you take it in thinking it's one thing and it turns out to be completely different. You think it's a bearing, it's gonna be the whole, you know, control arm that goes up. It's just, some of those things, it's hard to predict. You know, if I'd said all these numbers back in there, I probably would've tried to cover my rear end too, you know, and just, ended maybe more than what's actually worth here, just doing what we do. It's not.
I guess to some extent, so when you only had to put in 100 and, oh no, you would,
Just right material, sorry, about that point. Yeah, it would have been the same thing. I wish, you know, this is always uncomfortable when we come in higher, and it doesn't always happen, but it's, when things are out of our hand, we have no control of the items you see there, they're just, they occurred and we had to accommodate for them. It wasn't something that could say, okay, we're gonna do this, we're going to give you plans in, leather-bound plans, you know, those things, it's not there, it's just, if you can accomplish it, you can have it done now. So.
Eric, you've indicated to me before that there are reasonable things that were above and beyond or separate from the original contract that.
Yeah, I'll speak freely that on this. We had a lot of justifications for what took place regarding the additional, cost. If there's anything that I would mention, just to, be clear, is that I think there might have been stuff going on organizationally there too, where they had a lot of conflicts and maybe problems with, just continuity but one thing that, during the first phase, I wasn't necessarily very pleased with the quality of the service. I've seen it improve though. I'm not trying to speak bad. I'm just saying I thought the quality was lacking, in certain aspects. That was the only thing that I took away from it. But not all the time. I thought there was good quality too. It's not like a complete, broad brush. I just think there was definitely a period of time there where we were having some issues, with, probably, from a quality and maybe more so from a responsiveness and things like that. But other than that, I think it's improved, you know, going forward. But to me, that's really the only, thing that I see, in regards to the additional, cost. I would expect it based on what took place in this project. I would expect additional costs associated with it. And no matter who you had as a consultant, because of the things that we encountered going through this process. Does that kind of summarize it though? I mean, it was my take on it, big picture. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and that's something obviously, we weren't hitting on all cylinders in there ourselves, and so we always try to improve it. Sometimes you don't start out right and then try to end up better as you go along. Learn from your mistakes.
I would, I guess, really quick, I was just looking through the bulleted scope of services, where I only saw the turn lane on Highway 9, but right away in the project description, it says, including the design of right-hand turn lanes on Highway 9 and 822. Yeah, I don't know, I think whether that was partly for the fact that we talked about,
It could be that we wanted to generate the, estimates for it. I saw that too, you know, it's down below, it doesn't add into it, so I'm not sure whether that was a typo or whether we just went ahead and thought that was just gonna be estimates for construction costs.
but you understand our side of it, it says it in there that, or.
Yeah, it says up here, but it doesn't say down there actually what we did, so
I guess my thought at this point would be I'd like to work with our engineer to identify what likely additional expenses could total, and I don't want to just give a blank check. I think we need to understand what's different and why it will be more than 170. And personally, I wish we got some RISE grants on the first phase. It's still available for the second phase, but that is a huge part of this overall project. We cannot afford to not have the RISE grant be part of it, so I would have a hard time approving or going with services well in excess of the original contract if we ultimately don't get to the point where we get the RISE
no,
grant.
that's not an issue.
I'm not saying it wouldn't be, but just stressing that.
No, you're right. No, that's not an issue.
What's not an issue?
About the RISE grant.
You don't think it is? What happened the first time?
Well, the first time was that it looked like we'd had some issues getting back to the coordination, getting back the information to the DOT.
And whose fault was that?
Well, I'll take the majority of it. It's something that, it was something that we understood something else to be done, so in the end run, we should have made sure it got done, so. But as you said, we worked with an Aaron, knows that too, that it is applicable for the paving portion, so that's what we used for that.
That'd be my thought at this point, if we want to reconsider the last request. But I would like our engineer to work with you and develop an addendum to this, or, and that obviously would be with your opinion and overview and recommendation to us, would be fair. I think some consideration for not having come to us with the fact that going into 2 stages is gonna cost more, and, you know, some of those oversights, I guess I would like to share the overage between us.
Oh, I see.
I don't think that's unreasonable.
I'm willing to consider that. It's a case of where one of them will work with you, I'm not here to, I think, just answer your questions and see where we're going here, so.
And by use of the word overage, I'm not saying you're charging us more than what
Just beyond the original.
Right,
Yeah,
because I understand that.
Unless you have questions, I think you can see the extra work we did was truly extra work, so. Yeah, please just ask me.
I don't get that extra work. It was part of the project. What is extra work? Should have all been included as far as I know.
Well, and that's where we're saying we didn't include it, because obviously some of those areas we didn't anticipate.
Well, you can say that about anything then. You can, 2 weeks from now, you can say, oh yeah, that wasn't included, blah, blah, blah. I think it was, stop there.
We have items that are covered by what we contracted with them for.
It's just that, like I said, if we had figured those in to begin with, the fees would have reflected that, would have been higher, so. Fortunately, it's a pretty good sized project and things do change and we have to accommodate for that, so.
What additional costs do you think will be there if we got to pay for the two-phase?
If we have to go for the two-phase.
Well, there's breaking it into two projects.
Oh, I didn't break it out, but I could work with Aaron on that and we could come up with a.
It's not fully, it depends on how efficient, the first phase is the big one, I can see it being, that's the way it is. The second phase is, we talked about it too briefly, there's gonna be a little additional cost, always associated with two construction seasons.
Two construction season, two sets of documents.
Especially the construction side too even, because there's questions that come up, things that come up that have to get addressed by the signature, the engineer of record, so just part of that process, plus there's two packages, correct, so that's a whole nother, so many $1,000s for that, $5,000 or whatever it is, to put that. There's a lot of overlap, but, it's not like completely doing a whole new project, because you are doing one project, it's just being led in two separate phases. Long term, it's the best thing for the road. You didn't make a bad decision, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It's the right decision, it's just that, making the right decision became possible too. But that's only one aspect. There is a number of aspects, and one of the things that really hurt us this year is we had a very extended construction schedule that went on for a long time. And we were basically, when did it start? In May, and it went all the way till November. And it ended in November, and it went a long time. And we ran into a lot of issues with utilities and other stuff too that did drag out, and Dwayne had to be involved with that stuff too.
What we could do is use this extra worksheet that we gave you, itemize, as you're saying, just itemize out the estimates items, but add into the bills, have Aaron review those, and you can certainly, back those out, and to you and tell you that's a little different, and that way you can see that Highway 9, if you want to just disregard that, because it is a little convoluted in my amendment, I agree, but, then you can back that number out.
I guess the two I have a problem with is the last two, because I never knew, A-22 was never in the program. And I never knew that we were just figuring one project, because I thought we were figuring two projects from the start.
It was early on,
Early on when,
and it's true that, I'll reflect back on it. There was discussions about this is gonna even affect the cost, and I believe we should be all right, because what Wayne's saying is that there is some fluff in there, he doesn't know how it's gonna turn out.
Yeah.
But we thought it should still work, within the budget, but it became pretty quick apparent, I knew once this construction season got going the way it did, that there was gonna be problems as we hit the end of the construction season, knowing all the stuff that took place.
I can understand some of this, but those are two that I just have a real hard time with.
Yeah, no, it isn't clear cut, and to be quite frank, they could have been more communicative, and we could have had more of this discussed if it was an issue. And so, in fact, what I recall is that it could have still came in under our budget with both phases being led separately. But that was early on at the beginning, kind of not knowing how things were gonna go too.
yeah, if you look back on that agreement, it's quite a ways back, so it's,
That previous year, so.
Well, let's clarify, all this stuff, when you're hiring this consultant, you hired them, for professional services on an hourly basis, time and material. And so it's not the same thing as like a hard bid, where he's doing it as a lump sum based on a certain scope of services, or if he's bidding it out, like a hard bid on unit pricing, this is what it is, on like completing something. It's not the same as like when you have a contractor provide you a bid, it is different.
we try to get as many of those items that we typically would see built right into the agreement, because we know a lot of those things are gonna happen every time. we anticipate that, and that's what we try to do. So we try to anticipate everything we can that's reasonable that would happen, you know, on the project. But then the items that don't, you know, we can't anticipate or it just are a little abnormal, as the areas that I show you here are just the ones that you don't know how to account for it until you actually do the work, or at least know what that work entails, how big that project, you know, piece of the puzzle is gonna be. Some of the small items, it doesn't, you don't matter too much into it, but when you come into the bigger items, then it does, you know, take extra work to do, so. What would you guys like to do, see? Aaron, you see my suggestion being workable, or?
Yeah, review that with me again. Do you wanna have something at the next meeting? Is that?
I personally, I would be willing to consider in the previous pay request submission and realizing that that goes over 170.
Sure.
Before we just keep going, we have something more detailed,
Right.
idea broken down so that we know where we're going and what we're not likely to see more of going forward.
What I suggest is, coming up with a, you know, that was called amendment 1 to the standard documents. Come up with a list of items so you see what your cost will be from here on out, so it'll be broken out.
Maybe that's a good way to approach it, maybe prepare the amendment too, and with the, costs broken out, and, you know, maybe a letter kind of explaining your document, if there is anything that you elect to kind of cap it at or cover as a result, as, you know, as your agenda, you know. And then we'll discuss it, and, you want it at the next board meeting to be presented that way, gentlemen?
Well, it'll be on the 8th next, that might be.
What are you saying, Jason, pay the bill? And then make sure it goes over that? Was that what you're trying to say?
I just wait, personally, I just wait till you're happy and pay. I'm not here to crush you on that, guys. It's your answer questions.
So then you're gonna sit down there and kind of hash
I
out.
don't have a whole lot to offer as to what needs to be included and how that looks. It might need to give me an indication that, yeah, there are things beyond what we could have first envisioned and what the contract calls for that are reasonable to pay him and for them. So, yeah, we couldn't know going in day one that this was gonna accomplish everything we needed to. And I wish we would have been notified what was going to be in excess or outside of that contract prior to any of that being done. I guess the engineer just knew that it was necessary by all the projects to keep things moving and go forward with it, but there are any number of things we could have added to the contract initially that would have covered this, but the cost of them for sure would have been there then. So I would just like to know what we're looking at. So in excess of the 170. Either with what's been done or what is yet planned outside of what the original contract stated. I'm gonna have to rely on our engineer to provide a better understanding to me than I can.
Wayne, don't you, like it says, review for soil conditions, don't you run into that every job you do? Don't you have to review some of the four,
Yes.
it all goes according to plan, though?
No, it doesn't. So, and I have some time built in there for that, but it just got more than what we anticipated. And you do look at it every time, that's part of the contract confirmation that we've done when we come up, and that was part of the original amendment too. But there's times where you come into stuff that you have to make design changes because of, you know, it reflects into what you're doing. So it's, you know, there's times where it's just, usually you find an area that's small.
You don't normally just figure that in, if you're gonna
Yeah.
have those
So
issues.
you figure something, but not certainly what we're into.
So what did we run into? How bad was it? Was it low, was it a lot?
I mean, there's quite a bit of area there we had to modify,
And so
modify.
did we do soil borings and stuff, but that doesn't do us any good?
It doesn't until you start getting out there and where you see the construction equipment and how it reacts to it.
But we didn't have soil borings when this contract was being discussed either. We knew that there used to be a road in that north file years ago.
You think it's all wonderful? I don't. So
I don't say it's all wonderful, but there's no way,
anything I question, and so I'm not gonna argue with you anymore about it.
Yes, and then back to your original question, yes, at times we'll try to predict that there is areas that, you know, we'll have to accommodate, but not that we, foresaw like this, no.
Well, what do we have there, and look it over, and we'll go from there.
So we on to health insurance, we got the rest of this.
I'm not sure where we're going. I made my suggestion, Mike says, have Aaron look it over. Not sure what the board would like to do.
I'm still go back to that, where it states Highway 9 and 822.
I see that, what I thought we'd do is take what I have for extra, so we know what we have to do to get it done, what we had to do, and this, the changes in list, and then just itemizing those out, even where we want specifically, so, okay, maybe we shouldn't do, you know, maybe when Wayne says this, we don't pay that much. I mean, that's just basically give you the areas, the cost that I can see that results in that extras, and tell me what we can do from here.
But Aaron makes a good point. This is not a flat out bid, that everything would be done for under $170,000. This is a time and materials stuff. So he's stating, and I don't know where I would go to say that it's not accurate, that they've given in the time and materials that have gotten us to this cost already, and that there are others that would be needed, but.
I just wish there would have been some communication.
Now, how much did that cost us? That non-communication, how much did that actually cost us?
And we'll never know, and we'll never know.
As far as cost, I mean, it's, the work was done regardless, sure, additional cost.
What was your original cost estimate on this?
70.
No, I mean on the project.
Oh, I have to look back, I don't remember. Quite a while ago.
There was, you know, it was based on a 31-foot wide road, the original, yeah,
31-foot concrete road.
correct. Then there was some cost reductions for asphalt, foot reduction too.
What was the total figure? Aaron, do you know?
It's, was between 2.6 to 2.75 million for the 31-foot construction.
And how much do you think it'd be?
And then there was a potential cost reduction for asphalt instead of concrete, which is another 200 or so, about $200,000, a little bit more. And then width reduction, down to 28 was like 150, 175,000. So that'd be a cost reduction of, I don't know what the cost is right now. We're at 1.2 million plus 135 million for the first phase, and then whatever the second phase is. For construction costs. So it was 1.2 for the construction, plus it was about 150,000 for the gravel purchasing, and yep. That's if it, comes in that budget, which it'll probably be close, but it's not gonna be exact, either. There's definitely, that's gonna be that could come over a little bit too. I don't foresee it coming over significantly though. Like a big overrun or anything like that, percentage wise it would be small if it goes over.
I make a motion, we do nothing, no more checks until we figure this thing out. We gotta know how much we're talking. Okay.
We want to let that motion, still stay live and then move on to some of the other topics on the agenda, on the same topic. There's other stuff, like we're discussing the paving design, the schedule, and, the contract for gravel, for Allen, and all that stuff too. Whatever you guys want to do, but if you want to come back to it, or let it sit there on the, until Mike
Well,
gets
I
back.
just want,
We're just waiting for Mike to get back.
Exactly. Yep.
one thing I like to say is you probably got justification for all these things here, but what about the quality of your services? Is there any?
Yeah, I guess, I'm not sure how to quantify that, if that's an issue. Like I said, it's try to improve every time we do the project, and even through the project, so,
I mean, is there any, monetary that we can put on that?
I don't know how you do that, I mean, I guess you could,
There's been things that haven't been done right, and we kind of admit that. That we assumed, you assumed, and, there's gotta be a cost with that too, right? Whatever. I made the motion, we don't make any more. Oh, you can read it too, Mark, whatever. No more checks until we get this thing figured out.
I just had no further payment
Yep.
be made until there's a clear estimate of extra costs presented. I got it right,
or, I'm curious, how do we get to the point where we have the clear estimate?
Mayor
And figure it out?
We're gonna have to figure it out.
Okay. Further questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion, signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
If so it's like we had talked about then, we're gonna just, okay, work through it, and then you want it, hopefully at the next board meeting to bring that to your, forward to you?
That may be kind of quick.
We meet on the 8th and the 22nd.
Yeah.
So,
That may be kind of quick,
yeah,
so we-
possible, it's fine.
The 8th or 22nd.
I'd like to see if you can get on the 8th, just for, just to make sure.
Absolutely.
Sooner the better for you guys.
Okay, and the next would be the Tyler Avenue paving project design, anticipated letting schedule.
Yeah, the, plans in front of you, as you said, I would say they're late stage, you know, as far as, development. There will be changes, what we have to do is send preliminary copies to both the DOT, regarding the RISE and TSB portions of the project, and to, both the DOT, initially for comments, and for the, turn lane, permit. So they know about it. Once Aaron finishes his review, we incorporate those changes and send them out as a final review by both those parties. So
How long do you think that's gonna take?
I would hope that we can get things back from him in a few weeks. I don't know, it's hard to pin down DOT, I mean, it's, anytime you deal with the second party, it's hard to pin them down exactly. But I'm hoping that we could have maybe bids back in mid to late February, is what I'm hoping. So, it's
Just
just,
have bids back on.
yeah, I'm hoping that's how it runs, yeah, but it is back to them again, as, he was asking about what things are in control. This would, what we would typically see, time schedule, but we are completely at their mercy. But, you know, this is just, again, going back to where, just how I did the estimate to begin with, typically that's what we expect, but we don't have that control, we run into that as it comes, so.
Basically, as long as I'm able to deal with the plan review while I'm dealing with FEMA right now, too, coming. But I can deal with that from my side, from the county side, and, as long as Wayne's responsive and keeps plugging through this efficiently, I don't see any problem with it. You know, as long as it's, you know, we can plug through it. So far, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be, you know. There's some, I would say there's some advantage to considering a February letting, because if you guys want to allow, an alternate bid for hot mix asphalt, I would say that you'd wanna let that in late February. The reason why is I'm gonna be letting a very large hot mix asphalt project in mid-February. So I think you'd wanna let it immediately after that. If you wanna leave that as an option on the table from a cost saving standpoint. And if not, then then just let it as soon as it can, really, if it's gonna be only one option. You know, so that's the other side of the coin too.
You're a large enough project that you're gonna have a lot of people looking at it, so you're gonna garner a lot of weight regardless of when you bid it. But it'd be nice to have it late February, that'd be kind of a nice period. But again, it's back to, and you missed it as you were outside, is that it's back to the DOT responding, and getting those comments back to us. We're really at their mercy. The plans, again, are back to how we show it, plans itself, you got in front of you, maybe the one that probably is most pertinent, if you turn to page 31. This is basically back to what Aaron is discussing too, you see this typical cross section on page 31. We talked about this before, design width, design material. These plans are set up, as we talked last time, your preference was for concrete, but it is something that you can consider going to HMA asphalt. You can see the width there, it's a 28-foot paved width, and that was discussed whether we wanted, most of the roads you have now are 20, 22, maybe 24, in that area. This does have extra width. We're paving into, as you can see in that small cross section there, there's a couple extra vertical lines for that deep gray. That is a paved shoulder. It would be striped at that point. But because of longevity, design helps us, this design helps us in achieving a longer life of a concrete structure. You would still have the granular material underneath in that right-hand stripe crosshatch there. It's called special backfill, for lack of a better term. Let's discuss that a little bit, Aaron and I. But then underneath believe is what you've done already, that granular backfill, left hand. And of course, the, earthen backfill on the very right. So essentially, this project, if you want to very encapsulate this in a small nutshell, it's not quite as simple. But essentially, this project is paving that, deep gray area to width of 28 feet, 8-inch concrete. There is a caveat in that, I'll talk quickly about. Granular shoulders either side, 4 foot wide. And then just a small earthen backfill, essentially kind of, taper up that back slope up to meet where your granular material is. The DOT, on Highway 10 or Highway 9, is requesting, among other things, going to 10-inch concrete rather than 8-inch. That's how we did actually the North 40 same way. Everything within the DOT right away was 10-inch concrete. And then, of course, went to 8-inch North 40 as we're showing here. So that's one caveat there, is that they require a deeper concrete section for their pavement, also a granular section for that. So this is where, if you wanted us to, and this is a big if, is how you want to address that, and it has been discussed as concrete, but I know there was numerous times we discussed 1H and maybe asphalt paving too, in regards, there's a savings there. But quantifying that, you won't know exactly until they give you the numbers, but there is a savings. So basically, we need to decide truly if this is the cross section you want to pave to, and if this is the material you want to pave to, or if you wanted to switch to asphalt, or if you want to have both bid at the same time. And I'll be right up front, if we bid both at the same time, there does incur extra cost from our behalf, because then we're doing 2 designs for pavement. So that, right up front, we talk about making sure you do. That's right up front, if you ask me to go give us a design with concrete and asphalt, it's truly cats and dogs, when you have to design both. So, that's the case.
Yeah, it's a tabulated, itemized, separate bid form. It's not like it's a gigantic issue, but it does incur cost. Yeah, there's extra work to do to accomplish that.
Yeah, so, again, going back to make sure we're, more communication right up front, that is something that if we do this, that is additional cost.
How much more do you think it would cost to do that?
I can put a number together to it, but I never really think about it, about all the other ones.
I guess I'd be
It's not
curious.
huge, we're, you know.
It's not,
I'd be
it's
curious.
not a major deal. But
Yeah.
everything costs thousands, not dollars, you know, I mean, it's,
Yeah, we're,
you know, it's
let's just throw 7,500 at it, you know, that's probably more than covering, but it's,
I guess I'd like to know how much more it would cost to do both.
gotcha. Yes, I can, if you need that, I can just work with Aaron on that.
Yeah.
Yep.
guys, there's actually 4 potential, I think it's important that the board understands, there's actually, we would like the board's input, you know, on if they want to make formal decisions on the guidance of where this design goes, you know what I mean? Like from here on out, if we're heading a certain direction, if this is the way we're going, the ship has sailed, this is the way we're sailing, we want to know that because, you know, then we don't have to guess. I mean, we can make some decisions ourselves if you want to just go with what we feel in our gut is the best, you know, the engineer, that's fine too. But, you know, I'd like to know what you guys' position is on it. But here would be kind of the key, things that I think would need to be, discussed. One is, are we gonna pave 24-foot versus 28-foot? My recommendation to the board is, if you are gonna shave off money on the project, if you choose to do so, that's the first place I would do it. That'd be number one. Doesn't mean you have to do it. I'm saying it's fine. I prefer a 28-foot wide road. But if you're gonna shave off money off the project, you just kind of trim, I would trim on that one, number one. That'd be my recommendation. If you guys have other things you value more, that's another thing. The other thing,
Coming to Tyler Avenue, Highway 9 is gonna be the only route that they would take that would go wider than 24 foot, right?
correct. Yeah, we don't have a rule.
Because 24-foot road is wider than
It's wider than
every route
L58
they
going
would take
south.
to get there except Highway 9.
L58 going south from the mountain, that's 22-foot wide.
I
And
guess
then when you
I'd like
get
to know
down,
numbers.
yeah, Go ahead.
I'd like to know numbers before I make a decision.
Absolutely, and so, and that's why he's sitting here too a little bit, and he did provide some rough numbers, I remember, earlier. Now, so let's break this apart. We got width, those are two options, and that's all the option I'm giving is to us. There could be three or four, but to me, it's either 24 or 28, one of the two. There isn't any in between. The only way you can do anything in between is if you do go hot mix asphalt, because if we're gonna do a concrete pavement, it's either 28 or 24, one of those two. And, if we're gonna do, the other thing is the pavement type. Are we going to allow to bring in other numbers from asphalt, concrete, so that we have a better idea of what the cost implications are for both those options? And if we do asphalt versus concrete, I would think when we do our bid, we're gonna have to communicate to the contractor that asphalt will have to be such a dollar amount cheaper for it to be awarded. It'd be something like that. That's the way I'm seeing it going, so, you know, because I would think that we're gonna want some additional funds for future use from the maintenance side of it, would be the way to you know, do it from a plan side. I've seen plans put together that way. They have like these A, B, and C, and it's minus that, equal to this, there's a cost difference, so to make them competitive or equal, it has to be this much difference between this bid and that bid. And so, to me, those are the two key options, width and pavement type. Thicknesses, I think we've already determined what they're gonna be, you know, from the design standpoint, from the engineer standpoint, so really, it's pavement type and pavement width. The other thing, where did I have it? Is there anything else here that need to be discussed?
We discussed real briefly whether we go granular shoulder, whether we do vertical shoulder.
Yeah, I think we'll go granular shoulder. I think when you look at the cost of the material, I think it's a better product, you know, for this truck route. So I'm kind of making that decision for you too. You know, I mean, if you guys really have a big issue on that and you want to save, you know, a couple, you know, $10,000 or something, that's fine, but I wouldn't recommend it. So my place, the way I look at it, is pavement type is, you know, entirely up to you guys, really, on what you guys want to do, and I'm fine either way. In regards to areas where I would look at reducing costs on it, it would be on the width. I wouldn't actually recommend saving costs on the turn lane, that's the other question. So we have right now alternate set up for turn lanes. Theoretically, you guys could remove one of the turn lanes or both of them if you wanted to. I don't know that
For safety's sake, I don't see how we can.
I don't think we should. We already have built them, but I'm just saying, this is a place where you can save money. Where do you guys want to save money? Do you want to save it in a place like that? To me, the first place I would start would be the actual width of the main drag. Because to me, it's the most money, and it has the least value from an overall function on the overall corridor. It has value, but doesn't have the same value to me as like a right turn lane does off of Highway 9 and off of 22. It also, so that's the first place I would cut my costs if it was, you know, my road that I was paying for out of my money. You know?
And we broke those turn lanes out so you can see the dollars each one is gonna, you know, so that you can say, okay, we're gonna pay X dollars for this turn lane. One thing about turn lanes is that you can design them, you can pave the remainder of it in anticipation for a future turn lane.
Okay.
So you could design around the fact that even though you're not doing a turn lane this year, you know, if you have problems or if you have, you know, the financial is the issue, then you can always pay those separate. Because cost-wise is now.
I guess my question was, like on 822, you wait for somebody to get killed before you pay it?
Well, and that's part of the issue is that, you know, it's back to, unfortunately, I won't say gamble, but it is, you know, yeah, it's how much you pay for the ability to have the safer turning movement. You know, maybe you'll never have an accident there, especially a serious one, you know, probably have accidents period on a four-way. But maybe you'll never have an accident at that intersection that you paid X X dollars, or no increase in safety. So it's always kind of a risk, you know, versus cost on that.
Or would it be possible to turn that into a four-way stop versus adding the turn lane from eight twenty-two?
I don't know, coming from the east of eight twenty-two would be, I think, the most difficult part because of the grade, because like this guy's coming down. Coming from the west is not a big deal, but then I think you're gonna annoy a lot of people and those stop signs will go away. I'm just saying, you guys are happy with it, next supervisor will say, tired of these calls, let's get rid of it. And the other question, I guess, too, is whether we stop, 160, which you know, we had figured through design for the traffic north and south, they don't stop at that intersection. And you are stopping coming from the east and west out into and out of Waukegan. So that's not a huge thing, but that is something.
That makes the most sense to me.
You know. And then I guess on top of it, maybe steal your thunder is making sure that we designate this as 55 mile an hour route that we're looking at, or 45, I think we talked about it before. But going back to the communication, that was discussed way back when we revisited that.
It was,
It was 45.
and the board will have to take action on that, as well as changing that stop sign configuration, and there'll have to be a formal resolution that takes place, in my understanding, for that, to officially happen.
Again, just going back to what we discussed a long time ago, I want to make sure everyone remembers that was something we discussed. Speed limit and stop signs.
That was what the design was based off.
I was gonna say, the
45
engineering
miles.
wise, that would.
No, absolutely not. I just wanted to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
as we talk communication, making sure that that was something we talked about a long time ago.
Just in anticipation of running, I would like to see bids let for both substances, surfaces.
Yep.
And I said the 24-foot wide road. Personally.
Or do you want that as an alternate? Do you want to see what the pricing comes in, and do you want to see both off price? I'm just wondering.
But that really isn't a big deal. That wouldn't be any huge cost, because all we have to do is show that as an extra. So we could, do that separately.
So alternate, you propose the alternate thing. The other key thing too is, do you want to have alternates broken out for the turn lanes, or are those basically, if we're doing this right, or we're doing the turn lanes? Because if we are, don't even put an alternate in there, because to keep the overall cost in one bid item. We talked about this with the cheap fence thing. I mean, all that does play an effect. It can affect the pricing for that unit price if it's a small project.
We've already done the dirt work for the turn lanes,
We have, and it's already included. The only thing you can do is you can remove it, and at a later date, you utilize other funding or county, you know, you can do something to build a turn lane later, if you really wanted to wait.
I think it's sometimes nice to have a few alternates in there, just so you feel like you have some flexibility in the final say-so of the dollars, you know, to really keep it crunch, and you said.
and then I'd rather see the alternates in the width of the road. That's just my thought. Because to me, the turn lanes, that's a safety item.
Has to be done,
Yeah.
Yeah, if the turn lanes are a go, we really won't even break them out. To me, if the board is strong on it, because we'll just put it in there and it's part of the project.
How do you guys feel with turn lanes? That's just my
Yeah,
thought.
I think it should be one.
Well, it's separate bid items, but we won't do it as an alternate, that's what we would do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the one is a thicker pavement, but we are,
They'll just pave it differently, I'm just thinking they'll have a different cost per square foot on what turn lanes versus.
Turn lane on eight twenty-two.
would there be some value, that's a good point, that, is there something to be said about just having one price or? Yeah, that way they have to, put it into their bid.
Yeah, I mean, you could just average it out. Maybe using X dollars on the turn, and Y dollars on the through payment and stuff.
I wonder how,
I would typically still just bid it so that, even if, not as its alternate, but bid it, you know, as we have what's called
Another
divisions.
line.
Division one is the main paving, Division two is the north turn lane, Division three south turn. Instead, I'll keep it as all one division. Usually I would still have this separated out, because through, you know, paving going 2 miles long, that's X dollars for each square yard.
yeah,
I mean, it's not a huge thing, if you wanted to add it in, that's fine.
If it's not an alternate, we wouldn't be able to drop it even though it's identified as a separate.
You would have to
correct.
negotiate.
You are correct, we'd have, that has to go to another negotiation or something.
A22 turn lane to be bid as an alternate so it can be dropped or not?
That'd be a good idea.
It's currently set up that way, so it's not a big deal from a design standpoint. It has to do with, you know, I was thinking that if you know you're gonna do it, maybe you could just bundle them and put it out for bid, that way you got one price, but he's also bringing up some facts that he would actually like to see it broken out because of the different type of work that it is, that that's gonna be more handwork versus the mainline paving, I think is what he's saying, so, you know,
Well, if we do it, I sure can't see tearing off the dirt that we've already, the work we've already done.
no, it won't get turned out, no, there's no way that'll get teared out.
But,
For temporary easement and permanent, there's no way we're tearing anything out,
changes.
If we build it, they will come. Yeah.
I don't know, that's how I feel, so guys, what do you guys think?
And you're thinking both, irregardless, is what you're saying.
So I don't wanna see somebody get hurt before we do something.
I like to see it as an alternate. That way we can throw it out, right?
Yeah, you have the flexibility to do so. And also, understand, that can also potentially affect the bidding, you know, it could, you know, because when something's sure, it's sure. When it's, it's not, you know, I'm just saying, you know, from a contractor bidding on this project, how is he gonna interpret that? And how is he gonna bid it accordingly? You know, so you gotta understand that, everything has a consequence, right? You know, so,
Yeah, the contractors have been in the game, and they'll say, if you're staying as an alternate, that usually means you're considering dropping it.
exactly.
So sometimes they'll say, well, if you're gonna drop it, I might as well jack it up another, 2 months a square yard, because if it gets dropped, it gets dropped, if it doesn't get dropped, I got more extra cash. So that's the downside to do it this way, but,
Especially on smaller things.
but you don't know that cost unless you do break it. Kind of double-edged sword, unfortunately. I understand what you're saying, Ed, does that potentially affect the per foot cost of the 2 miles, the other portion? It will, because sometimes increase costs on the other parts because they see that they could lose a portion of it.
Yeah, you could,
in every area.
Could, you know.
Yeah, I know that's
it-
speculative, I get
You
it.
know, to me, it's not a big issue. I don't think you can make a very long decision here, it's just, if you know you're gonna do it anyways, and you're going to do it, then why even mess around? Just put it in there, this is part of the contract, because then you're communicating clear, this is the scope of work, and you're gonna probably be guaranteed to get the best.
I'd rather negotiate the rest.
Yeah,
Rather, you know.
and this was, the way we laid it out was right from the last discussion, my communication is that I remember hearing that you wanted, to know those broken out separately, so that's why I put it in. So, easily can be dropped back into, it's not a big, it's not a cost issue, it's just a, how we want to do it issue. But yeah, I did, as far as the 24 versus 28, that needs to be thrown in there again as an alternate.
Yeah, my thought.
And you could have all three as alternates.
Bid too, though.
In theory, it could.
If you put that alternate up, I mean.
But if
You just don't know, unfortunately. You just don't know how they'll.
It is.
But if you put
Back in
any
the day,
of
you don't know
those in
the
there,
low better it's gonna be.
it could affect it.
Yeah, we could, but it's, again,
24 to 28 on the whole 2 miles would be more of an issue than having that as an alternative versus having the turn lanes. I think.
where you're
Big
going.
picture?
That's where you're going.
Yeah.
The main project is what matters, and that's what they're after anyway, so, in the overall bid price matters, they can't go crazy, but at the flip side too, the smaller areas is where they can have an unweighted bid.
Now, how is the dirt work set up for the width of the road?
It's set up for the 28.
It's ready to go for it. All we would have is a wider gravel shoulder.
Yeah.
If we go, instead of having a 4-foot gravel shoulder, we'd have a 6-foot. That's what it would turn, that's why I say, at the end of the day, our top isn't gonna change, it's just that your paved surface is gonna change. And if I was gonna take from it, that would be my recommendation, if you decide to cut costs, I would cut it there, because a 24-foot wide road is adequate. It's not a in a perfect world, we'd have a 28-foot with rumble strips that for safety, so no one goes off the road and kills himself and rolls over. We'd have, you know, all these things, you know what I mean? It's where do you wanna put the most, where do you wanna put the money or save the most money? And I would take it from there, because a 24-foot wide is a modern design, it is a standard, it isn't, it's actually greater than what we require. The requirement is a 22-foot road on a paved road.
I mean, we're seeing DOTs.
24 is ideal.
Yeah, we're seeing DOTs go to the sectional width of the paved shoulder, and that, they usually are the ones kind of lead this, you know, and eventually, a lot of times they'll trickle down to counties and cities, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with 24-foot, absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's, you know,
They got wider right away, they got 5-to-1 slope versus our 3-to-1, they got a whole bunch of things going on. And they have wider, and they have a lot more of a traffic route going. They're dealing with thousands and thousands of vehicles a day, we're dealing with hundreds. So it's just a different animal too. Everything has to do with traffic going too at the end of the day.
What specific direction we'd like to lead them? Mike saying that alternates for 28 and 24-foot width, but include both turn lanes. No one alternate.
That's just my thought.
Would you like to make a motion to that effect?
Yep.
Who was that?
The alternate to be from a 24 to 28 foot road. And keep the turn lanes.
Both turn lanes would be included.
And one pavement type then? Is that what,
Pardon?
only one pavement type, or are we looking at alternates for that next year?
Yeah, I'd like to see pavement, if it's too expensive, then we have to go. And you
So
said
it
it
would
would
be,
be,
so you would have a motion to have alternates for both pavement types and the 24 and 28-foot wide road, but the turn lanes are included.
yeah. You said it wouldn't cost much at all to do that.
the estimated PCC, there will be a cost because it's two different things, but
Yeah.
28 to 24, that's
No.
no.
But to go to the blacktop, how much more would it cost?
So that's where you put down the number, but we're talking 75, or let's just throw that number out there, hopefully it's less than that. I think that's something where I could work with Aaron too, if you wanna make it subject to that number.
Yeah, you're subject to the 7,500.
That way you're not getting down.
I don't wanna spend 10,000, 20,000 bucks.
Right, right.
No, but I don't think it shouldn't be that, you know, it's really just adding in some line sheets. Asphalt's easier in a way too, to be honest, it is.
Did you get all that, Barb?
I think so, yeah.
Good.
24 to 28, alternate and pavement type,
Yep.
and keep turn lanes.
Yep.
I guess we really just, the shoulders are still gravel,
Yeah, but gravel shoulders, right?
or the shoulders.
Okay.
I hope I've made the water good enough now.
That's fine, we can talk about the contract with gravel after this motion is formalized, or after this is formalized.
Anybody wants to support that motion, move forward. I see the value of getting an alternate on the turn lane, but if I were to do that, then I'd probably just stick with the 24-foot wide. So at this point, I think this is a reasonable approach. Any further questions, discussion, comments? All those in favor signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
Do you have,
We have a discussed contract with Hallett for gravel for Tyler Avenue project over material.
So Wayne and I had some discussions about the different materials that we want to specify for, the Tyler Avenue paving portion of the project. So we got two aspects that need to be accomplished. We have the contractor's gonna bring in some additional thickness of material that he's gonna place for paving, for a paving surface. And that material we discussed from a specification standpoint, we're gonna leave that to the contractor and open up a bunch of different gradations and a bunch of different types based on accessibility and what meets the specs we want. We did find though, what we feel is an affordable product that's close by and local for the shouldering material, which is like a Class C gravel, which we felt was inferior for the paving surface, but we found it was very adequate for the granular shoulders. And Callet has a big stockpile sitting there of about, they're estimating about 6,000 tons of material. We're estimating about a 4,000 ton need, so we need most of that stockpile to complete the shouldering. And that's a good question. I wonder if we go with the 6 foot width, that's probably good. I wonder what that'll come out to. Yeah, we have to pencil up, but I bet you it is probably close to that 6,000. So,
Yeah, sheet 8,
yeah.
Sheet 6, sorry. Tabulation sheet. The two items that Aaron was talking about was the items 3 and 4, and number 4 is that case that says granular shoulder, so you can see the item 4, if you look across, has the 3 divisions now, but we go away. But, granular shoulder, that's where it's just over 4,000 tons.
Yeah.
So that's the number we're talking about. The county would purchase, and the contractor would be required to do truck place level, so they're going to bring it from your purchase stockpile, that's the way you work.
Yeah, it's a couple miles away from the project site, so it's very close, just like ArcDev was too. It's a little bit closer. But this material will hold up well too, I think, for a shoulder. The material at my pit is a little clean. It works really good, I think, for a subgrade. But for a shoulder, it doesn't have enough clay particles in it to bind it together and hold it as well in place. And this material, when I look at it, it's both perfect. Really for a shouldering material. I mean, it'd be nice if you could get crushed material that has a lot of rock in it. This has rock, but it's a mined gravel, but it has the right amount of binder in it, the right amount of the good stuff that we need to make the right mix, I think, to get an intact shoulder that's gonna be as low maintenance as you can get. Only way we can have lower maintenance is if we spend a lot more money in hauling, have buildings or things like that we can blend. But I think it'll be a good shouldering material for building the shoulder.
Nice about it is you take that profit out of that and you buy it, and you just allow them to move it. Yeah, so it'd be a cost savings to do like this truck.
But then you are you're planning to move forward with it, and you're giving an agreement with Callet for that product, and so that is something to consider. And so in the end, like, you're gonna commit to this 4,000 to 6,000 tons of material, and they might require for the $6 a ton, they might want you to commit to the whole pile, basically. And I'm guessing if there's just a tiny bit left, we could take, the secondary roads could take over, but we're not necessarily committing to the secondary roads, isn't necessarily desiring to commit to the whole thing either, because we don't necessarily need that for what we're doing. It'd be kind of a.
Have you already discussed price with Alex?
I have. No, I've negotiated with vendors, and this is where I came to, and I think it's a very fair price. I think it's a good, I've checked a whole bunch of other sources for materials too. I really think this material is a good quality for a shouldering stone. I think for we have two issues if we put it as the paving base. It's kind of just a little bit out of spec of what we'd want for the paving base, but on top of it too, there isn't enough material there. So that means you're gonna have to bring them into line again, you're gonna have to pay more for that. You could get it for the same price, but it's gonna be more expensive because of the mobilization, to get more product. So I think we left it up to the contractor and left it open enough that they could find their sources and bid it out the way they want to provide something that meets our gradation requirements.
Yeah, you see a little asterisk down below in regards to the special backfill, that's material that goes underneath the paving. And you can see the fact that it says IDOT gradations and the numbers out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different alternate materials. Just trying to make sure you get the best bang for your buck on that. So, a lot of times you'll specify exactly one of those materials. Well, working with Aaron, we really feel that we can open that up and therefore allow different contractors to look at different, suppliers, hopefully reduce costs.
what happens if we commit to Helix and the contractor comes up with a better deal?
Well, he's committed to this route, I mean, now, if you were to come in and say, hey, I can do it, you know, here's what I can do it, I've got my own, you know, pit, or I'm on supply, then, yes, then you bought rock, but I think you can easily use that shoulder material for other projects, I imagine, right?
Oh, yeah. And I guess at some point, I mean, it's not like, the problem is it's a really expensive material for secondary roads, you know what I mean, for what, you know, but it's not like we couldn't completely absorb it, it wouldn't be ideal, I mean, cause it isn't really part of the budget, you know? It would be like, yeah, I mean, here's what we coming right down to, guys, you know, let's say it's 4,000 tons, we're talking 24,000 now, okay? If we, let's say it's the full 6,000 that they're estimating, it's like 50 tons is what they're estimating right now out there, then it's like $37,000. So, I mean, that's the material, I doubt you're gonna get a better deal, you know what I mean? And that's why we're putting it before you. Doesn't mean that we have to do it, we can put it out for bid and just have them supply it. More than likely, you're gonna pay more money for that, that's why we're bringing it for you, because you're probably gonna save guys $10,000, and that's why we put it for you. I think you're gonna save money, but they're gonna bid it to install only, we're gonna have to weigh and haul and install. And so, or however we bid it, that's probably how we're setting it up is by tonnage, so they're gonna get paid for hauling it over there, placing it and packing it. You know, the material will be owned by the board of supervisors. And I can negotiate all the final details with Howard on how, like if we just basically pay for what we take, you know, but we commit to the minimum based on the project, you know, quantities or something. But they may require a little bit more. Basically, is the board ready to commit to $6 a ton for shouldering stone for the paving project? My advice would be, it seems like this will probably save money and have be the best product you can get for it. It's the best value you can get for the price. Yeah, there's better products out there, but you're gonna pay probably triple, you know what I mean? So, that's the issue. And you're gonna have to haul it from a longer location too.
So we'll proceed with the extension contract based upon that recommendation.
$6 a ton.
Where does it come from?
It's just, Talent Pit, it's 2 miles south of Waukegan. Nearby, Kent Stewart, I look at his pile too. I look at all the stuff down they had down in the area. You know, I went even to Minnesota, I went to other areas, looked at other sources too, you know, all over the place.
So they probably not like to get them anyplace else cheaper.
No, I know you won't, and that's why I'm saying, this is probably your cheapest material, and it's probably, and actually, from what I experienced too, just looking and feeling and checking this out.
Is that shale?
No, but there might be some in it, but it's not you know, it's not, it's an actual, mine, they sell it to the DOT for like shoulder stone. They put it up for a DOT project, where they use it as granular shoulders. And this is left over from a big project they had, I think on Highway 9 or something. I checked the material too, I felt that it was pretty good quality, so I checked it, you know, Kent Stewart's, I checked, Henning had a pit up here, which had pretty good, but they're further away, and, you know, I checked at some other places all around, actually. Actually, I thought it stood up pretty good, had the right content of binder, I thought it was a pretty good product, actually. So, that's why. And it's really close.
Gentlemen, I'll make that motion, go ahead with that, provide that.
$10 out.
That way, when
You're assuming the whole works.
yeah, I think you guys should if you guys are ready to go for it, I'm gonna work out the details of the best interest of the county, but basically, you're committed to $6 a ton, and then Jason will sign, but I wanna make sure I get everything written up in the best interest of the county. But you're really committed to $6 a ton for this material. Yeah.
Mr. Schulte, $6 per ton, the contract with Mallet for gravel for shouldering material. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
So we're
Now we're on health insurance.
You guys want a copy of this? I'll send it to you.
Sure, I will.
Okay.
that?
Yeah, I don't
You want more paper?
We'll take one too.
Everyone's one too.
Recent years. Kingston Life and Health will be here, I think, on the 22nd to give a further analysis of where we sit, recommendations. I did talk to Ryan last week. Initially, his recommendation would just be to keep premiums the same for another year. We're seeing some savings and some accumulation of a balance for the self-funding portion, but be too much turbulence in that just yet, so.
Why did our plan go up more than anything else?
Oh.
I expect that, I don't understand how they figured it.
So out of all the plans they got listed, that would be the highest increase.
We're seeing significant savings from the increases with our wellness participation and our county's loss history. We get some pretty significant credits or discounts, they call it, discount ratio. April 17th of last year, we gave approval to Plan 11E, and it stated using upcoming year, so that would be the current year's Plan 8 and 9 premium rates. I don't know that we need to act on it if we want to continue to use rates that were established for this year. I would be content having it remain at that level. I think our employees would like to see the insurance rate remain the same for a year as some of the increases we've had recently. As our participation, I certainly do.
So how do we cover that cost?
What costs?
Who gets the increase, I guess? The increase in the premium, does that get distributed out? Just the county as a whole?
But the increase to the premium on 11E would be far less than the increase in the premium on Plan 8. They're already paying a higher premium than what the 11E premium is. And that was what we're actually experiencing, the reduction in premium rates because of our discount ratio.
You said these guys will be here on the
22nd. 9:30.
So there's really no action to take on this, any questions you got, they'll answer.
For budgeting, I think it'd be nice to let our officers know what plan or what premiums might be utilized.
But they thought we could keep it where it's at and be okay.
My conversation with Ryan, he said I'd just use the same as last year. Without further ado, he said he hadn't analyzed our whole, and yeah, he'd prepare further and more in depth for the 22nd, but
And you said Plan 9 also?
well, weren't there one or two employees that were on Plan 9 prior to switching to 11E?
Yeah.
So then they would continue to use 11E, but Plan 9 premium rates rather than Plan 8 premium rates. And the sheriff's office currently is on Plan 9.
Right.
That would remain separate.
How many employees total are on all this, do you have any idea?
On the wellness,
Yeah, all these plans?
on health insurance plan, oh, probably 92, 93%. There's not too many that aren't on it, either
What would
themselves.
that number be, do you know?
The only ones that aren't are, sheriff's office,
Okay.
so maybe I'll find out. I'll find out for sure. No, that's fine.
What their benefit would be, if, you know, if we flooded or something, we took the increase.
Now, if I understand this right, they were already paying more. For the plan
As you look at Plan 11E, it says that the single premium should be $730, page 3, go back. This is going forward. The family of 1647, we were using Plan 8 premiums from page 1, so we're contributing at the 1,067 premium rate and the 2404 rate. So that increased premium rate funds the self-funding balance for the home. Our action was basically that the employees would experience the same benefits from, as they had from Plan 8, even though we were moving into 11. So we used the Plan 8 premiums. I looked through all this, we are getting a reduction in premiums for next year because of our loss ratio and our bonus participation.
How much is that?
Well, it doesn't show Plan 8 because we don't technically use Plan 8. I don't know what that exact number is. It shows Plan 9 going from 936 single to 831 single.
Okay, we have 44 on the 11E, and we've got 16 on the 9. Then we have 2 people that are, where am I? They're not working anymore, they're retired, but they're not old enough. Cobra, yeah. I think I don't want to say. Should've known, I don't like to say.
Blocking it out.
Yeah.
So if we could take the increase, it'd be what, 1.3% of the over? Like from Plan 8 to 11E.
That's just going down.
So you got the Plan 8 deductible.
Well, you gotta look at our plan
That's the
back
average
here.
base rate for everything.
You gotta look back and Osceola, and ours is going down a little bit.
Oh,
That's what Jason's saying, that this gentleman from Kingston suggested leaving it, and you build up your
I know it does. Okay,
reserves a little bit more.
then let's leave it.
So we're on the Plan 8 deductibles for the 11E plan.
Pardon?
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's 500 and 1,000 versus 5,000 and 10,000 on the
Yep.
11E.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Need a motion, I'll make that motion.
Okay. We're just leaving the same.
Yep, just leave it where it is. My hearing was bad, but I can
No, but I can hear her and you guys, and it's kind of like, oh.
Motion from Schulte, support from Helmers, to leave the insurance premiums the same for the coming year. Any questions, discussion? All those in favor, signify with aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Dr. Samuel K. Park as Deputy Medical Examiner.
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Jones makes that motion.
I'll second it, but I also have a question.
Discussion, motion has been made and supported. Mr. Schulte?
Did anybody talk to him about it?
Oh, there's a, well, no, letter came from the clinic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's reason enough, isn't it?
You just didn't pick a random out of the hat or something?
No, Dr. Coxer sent a letter.
Okay. Then I can remember it. You were pretty on
Is
something.
that guy in town all the time, or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He just lives right over here in the corner.
It was in your house, wasn't it?
And then, expensive house over here.
Yeah.
Our landlord out here.
Yeah. Sorry to get along with.
It's expensive, right?
All those in favor of that appointment, signify with aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
No, I had him, I thought I had him, I like him.
Everybody seems to.
Anything further, gentlemen?
I would just like to make comment with the courthouse under other business. I don't know if you guys stopped and looked at the carpeting in the treasurer's office.
Nice.
Looks really nice. Maybe if you guys would update an office here and there so that style doesn't go out before you do decide to do it all. Because I know our vault's gonna have to be done, there's mold under that, and we've got some other bad spots, but you guys got bad spots here also. But anyway, just maybe consider that
How much is that?
the next budget time. I didn't bring that with me, of course, we're not paying for this one.
No, but it's kind of nice.
Yeah, I'll look and let you know guys next week.
Not being a bad idea.
No, it's not.
Repairs within your vault as well, so.
Oh, yeah.
you better
Well, we've
find
got a
out,
lot to do.
address all of that as well as.
Yeah.
flooring.
No, we've got a lot to do in ours.
Consider some office by
Well,
office.
insurance cover that in here?
No, no. Checked into it.
But that'd be the time to do it.
Looks really nice.
It's been 20-some years, which I guess my name is about that one.
You're sitting home there, won't do it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, dealing with, whatever. Yours is?
35 years, it's still looking good.
Yeah, ours looks good.
If we don't use that bedroom, so.
We don't have kids running around and.
Alright.
Does he need a motion to, or? Can we talk about this at all, or not? No?
I'll second it.
Please making that motion, Leroy did make the motion to adjourn. Mike supports it, any further discussion? All those in favor of adjourning, signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.
You said Tuesday.